Hey guys, happy Saturday night. I know that I said that I was going to do the Son of Sam tonight. I that kind of got put off a day because of this information that someone gave me. It's pretty big. But before we even get started, a couple things that I want to tell you guys is one, make sure you subscribe. But more importantly, for any Chris Watts fans, you know who I'm talking about. But ask Go Lightly, which she did a wife swap that was awesome. If you need the link, just let me know. But it was absolutely awesome. And obviously, it was from a couple of years ago, but I knew she had money. But yeah, she was on that show Wife Swap. It was great. Like, I totally like her now. But she said something that I've been struggling with for a long time, and now I like the way she put it. She was like, she hates to call people followers, subscribers, minions. I mean, anything like, because that's not what you guys are. We're all on the same wavelength. So, what she calls it is just a family and a community. I am totally adopting that. So, when you hear me say our family and our community, you know that I'm talking to you guys, and I thought that was brilliant. So instead of like being subscribers or followers, we are now just one unit and we're just a community. So moving on from that, I just wanted to tell you guys that. A couple of other comments that I've gotten that I've received is bring back your old videos because there's so much stuff that's being talked about that have been either debunked or it's old news or something, you know, or everyone's jumping on Zellner's bandwagon. And I'm not saying who, it's a lot of people. So I really the one aspect of it that really has been bothering me is Carmen Bootwell. And I've said it before, but a lot of my family in this community has told me to, you know, bring it back and really make sure people understand what happened with Carmen because there are so many rumors. So here's the truth once and for all. Funeral services were held. This was from her obituary from November 6th. They were held at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, November 8th of 2005 at the Abundant Life Church in Two Rivers. Officiating the service was Reverend Scott Stevens. It was at the Feifel Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Manitowoc. Carmen packed a lot of living in a short amount of time, playing frisbee, golf, spending time with the family. She will be sadly missed. And she was. She didn't have a roommate. There was no roommate she lived with. She didn't have, the police didn't pay for anything. I happen to find, and I remember speaking to him with Mike Ryan, but Carmen's brother had contacted me. I then contacted Lynn Johnson because she did a lot of the research for it, as well as Mike Ryan. Mike Ryan contacted a writer, and they all talked, and he had wrote a lot of things that I've been saying. So instead of me having to type it all out, I just copied his. That Carmen's mom and dad paid for her funeral and creation. There were a lot of rumors going around saying that Manitowoc County paid for these services, but they didn't. Carmen's dad did whatever he could to pay for his daughter's funeral, and that is exactly right. She was a drug user, but she wasn't into hard drugs. Her drug of choice was pot and alcohol. She wasn't a junkie. And when I say she wasn't a junkie, she was into downers. She liked downers. Carmen, she was not pretending to be Teresa at any time for that matter. According to him, and I don't remember this, there are theories floating around about Carmen posing as Teresa because everybody knew Teresa was already dead. But they needed her to be alive in order to put her at Stephen's property that day. Carmen was homeschooled during key times on 1031. I personally never heard that rumor, but honestly, it's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Carmen was found by her grandmother the morning after her death on 11/3. Carmen and her friend were hanging out the night before at Carmen's house. Her friend was still there in the morning when her grandmother went to the house and found Carmen unresponsive. Her friend, this I do remember, her friend was a lesbian. And Carmen did go both ways, but Carmen also had a boyfriend. Not a very good boyfriend, but a boyfriend who was in and out of jail, but she loved him to death. She absolutely adored him. You could not get her away from him. And there's a lot of other stuff, but those are the key points that John, her brother, was okay with telling everybody. because those were like the biggest rumors out. So please stop with the conspiracy theories with Carmen. It's a dead deal. Now, is it possible that the bones are possibly hers? It's possible. I mean, we broke the story 3 years ago. It's definitely possible, but it's highly unlikely because of the times. She was cremated after the burial, which they found the bones earlier than that. The brother knows that he saw her body. So the times didn't add up. So that's the only thing I'm asking. Just please stop with the Carmen Bootwell conspiracy, because it's a done deal. And out of respect for Carmen and her brother, she deserves that. So I had to say that again. Moving on. So in my last video, I brought up Kate Kocourek. That was Tom's sister. Right here's the proof that it's Tom's sister. I guess Betsy's Tom's wife. Now, she's married to Schmidt. I didn't realize that in the other video. Now, you know where that comes from, right? Schmidt's Funeral Home. So what I didn't realize in the last video was how connected they were. And I didn't realize that the Schmidts would make sense if that's why, you know, Schmidt was never looked at, even though they own a crematory and everything else. Granted, they probably didn't have motive, but the point is, it explains why Schmidt was never taken seriously, because he's related to Kocourek. Actually, they're all related. So here's where the bombshell's coming. So Tom Kocourek really is an evil coward. Now, what I'm going to show you on the next page, let me explain. When I first saw it, I'm like, this chick's a troll. No way, no how. Then I looked her up. She's totally legit. She's like 60-something years old. Absolutely no reason for her to make this up. So I can say that with like 100% certainty after speaking to her, this is not fake. She's not a troll. She has a real Facebook account, and I did some other research, and she is legit. So I have absolutely no reason to doubt her on this, and I was shocked. Absolutely shocked. And I think you guys want to sit down, because you're going to be shocked too. So wait for it. So she wrote, I can't say how I know this, but I knew that Kocourek was evil. He was having an affair with his own brother's wife, not the one listed in this article, and when he was confronted by his brother, he shot his brother in the head. His brother lived, but nothing happened to Tom. No court, no jail, nothing. Surprise, surprise. So that someone gave to me. So then I contacted her, and this is what she told me. I can't really supply you with much info. The brother used to come into where my husband worked. He had a painting business and painted the machines there. He became very chummy with my husband, and he knew that I hand-painted signs back then and wanted to know if I wanted to work with him. I can't remember the wife's name. I just knew the argument ensued when he found out Tom was having an affair with his wife. Things got heated, and Tom shot him. Why he didn't go after him legally, I haven't a clue. Maybe he figured that Tom's background, he would win. We never really kept in touch. Sorry, I can't help. I just know Tom was evil even back in the 90s. Now, I asked her, you know, I know why the guy didn't go after him, because it's Tom. I mean, he's the head sheriff. Why would anybody beat him? He probably was afraid that the guy didn't live, he was going to die again. So that was my big bombshell that I was like, wow. You know, everyone knows I've been on Kocourek for a couple of days. While everybody else is doing other things, I've been on Kocourek. And obviously I had good reason to, and as you guys can see, it kind of paid off. So now let's move to Bushman, who is Kocourek's sidekick. One thing that seems to stand out is, what was Bushman's motive for framing Avery? Now, some of the info on the next couple of pages, I'm not going to lie, I did pull from Miss Majinx. I don't think it's Jinx Magic or whatever her name is. It was Miss something, and it was from a couple of years ago. But she has some pretty good info. So what was Bushman's motive for framing Avery? For starters, in 1985, the search for Gregory Allen had begun 2 weeks before Penny Bernstein was attacked. Now, after the attempted rape and assault on young women that lived near Penny, Bushman was called to do a search with his new canine dog. This happened on July 15th of 85. Penny was attacked on July 29th. So where does this lead? Bushman had to have had a vested interest in getting Steven Avery convicted, most likely, in my opinion, because of Kocourek. He feared that Kocourek, who made it clear that anyone who turned against him is going to be gone. I mean, fuck, he just shot his own brother. He shot his brother. He knew 100% that the suspect that they were looking for was Gregory Allen. This is Bushman. And 1 week later, Steven Avery's arrested for the rape and attempted murder of Penny. He knew that it would, they got him a canine to go after Gregory Allen. But yet, Bushman knew that Steven Avery wasn't the right man and said nothing. Nothing, because they knew it was Gregory Allen. And the same reason why Gregory Allen's picture was not in that lineup, which is still, unbelievable. Why would you not put his picture in the lineup? But that's not all. Just when you think it couldn't get better, this is what I got from her. This Miss Moxme or something. I forgot her name. I'm sorry. Bushman writes, while searching the land north of Avery's residence, which is a cornfield, I come across a burning barrel, which was in my section of area to search. Actually, no, this was in Bushman's writing about Teresa, the day he was there, on the 7th. The burning barrel was located in front of Steven's residence next to the cornfield. How the hell do you go from north of Avery's residence to right in front of Avery's residence? And why were there no reports of this or the camera or anything until Wendy Baldwin came along? She wasn't there on the 7th. So it was right in front of the house, yet no one saw it for 3 days. From the 4th, 5th, and 6th, and now the 7th. So almost 4 days. It took Bushman to locate this burn barrel that was right in front of Avery's house near the cornfield to notice a burn barrel. Come on, really? Anyone that thinks that this is right, please let me know. Now, welcome Kocourek's other clown, which is Attorney Vogel. He claims Steven was arrested for habitual offender, which is right here, that Steven Avery is charged as a repeater habitual criminal on both counts. An habitual offender is someone that is frequently convicted of criminal behavior and is presumed to be a danger to society. In an attempt to protect society from such criminals, penal systems throughout the world provide for lengthier terms of imprisonment for them than for first-time offenders. In the 1990s, habitual offender laws become harsher. In extreme cases, some offenders were detained permanently. Now understand, the studies in this about a habitual offender constitute that really suggest that this dangerous realm is about 2% of all offenders. What they mean literally about habitual offenders is rape. Someone that rapes continually. Someone that does, it could be like a crime, but it's most likely going to be the same crime, not 3 different crimes. Now let's look at Steven Avery's bullshit crimes before he got arrested for this. He broke into a bar and trashed it. He was a teenager. He got charged with the animal abuse. Get that. He threatened his cousin with a loaded gun. But here's the thing. And by the way, I did find evidence it was loaded, so Carla lied. What a shock. She lied and said, oh, it wasn't loaded. It was loaded. I found that today, actually. So it was a loaded gun that he put up to her head. But this is what makes him so stupid and convinces me that there's no way he could even think of pulling off this crime. So he followed her. She was like, now she's married to a police officer. So you would think if he had a half a brain, like, he would use it once in a while. But this is how dumb he is. Sorry, Steven, but yeah, this is over the cakes, over the top stupid. Like, over the top. He puts a gun to her head and like threatens her, "You're gonna come with me." I don't know where he thought he was going with her, but "You're gonna come with me." She gets in a car and says, "Well, let me just drop my daughter off first, and then you can do whatever you want with me." So idiot says, "Okay, no problem," and follows her to her house. Duh. She brings her kid inside in the house, and then he takes off. Well, while she's in the house, she calls her husband. He went back home. He put a loaded gun underneath his child's bed and denied it to the police. He then told the police, "No, I didn't do it." And then he changed his mind and he admitted he did it. That's the real story, not the bullshit that Carla is fed everyone in 2016. That's the real story. But what cracks me up about that is even though it's a horrible thing, if he was gonna do anything or didn't have a heart or was a psychopath or was a criminal, a horrible criminal, do you really think he would have followed her in the car waiting for her to drop her daughter off? Then what's he gonna do? Fucking kill her? I mean, give me a break. And he lets her go in the house knowing she's married to a police officer. So with this said, it's like, you can't be that stupid and yet remember, let me wipe down all the fingerprints on a car. Let me, it's just too ludicrous to think that he's this dumb, but yet can remember to clean his trailer spotless and make sure that, he burns her body. You can't have it both ways. He's either a fucking idiot, which I really think he is. He would be like on Dumb Criminals, where, dumb criminal does something, or Stephen Avery would be the guy to break into somebody's house, cut himself and call the police and say, "I got cut robbing someone's house." That's what this is. But a habitual offender, he's not. He is not a danger to society when you do something like that. Maybe I'm giving it too much credit, but to me, that goes on the highest high of dumb criminal lists. Just saying. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I want to cover, but I didn't want it to go too long. And I may try to get it in before the premiere or before the live tonight. We could discuss it at the live tonight, but there's a lot of more stuff that I was not prepared for, and I realized that it was going to take too long. So I didn't do it. So I'm going to close with this. I'll see you guys at 10 o'clock. I may premiere this early. We may do a thing early. And, of course, Booga's about to bark. So I'm going to cut this now. And I will see you guys shortly. Make sure you subscribe. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. And believe me, part 2 is just as good.